Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you the daily Apple report for Friday, December 15th, 2023. On with the charts. Take a look at the big picture, work our way into the day itself. You're well aware of long-term support. If you've been following the Apple report now for the last 6 months or so, that we closed above the mid 160s back in May, set off a long-term buy signal to 233.07. That still remains in effect. In the interim, we fell off, formed a July high, came back to test channel support, and we rallied off of that area. And then, about a month later, we closed above this 183.04 descending channel top, a secondary long-term buy signal that can yield 233.07 by the second quarter over the next 3 to 5 months, perhaps. Are we going to close above 198.23? And is it consequential? 198.23. We pushed through that on Thursday, but we did not close above it. If we close the week above it today, sure, definitely a sign of secondary buying pressures. But, I do want to see the market also close above what is really almost a 2-week channel top, steeply rising. We tested this and it held nicely on Thursday. If we can close above, I'm just going to call it a range of resistance between 198.23 and 200.09. If we can do that today, then yes, another secondary long-term buy signal, expecting 207.39 within 1 to 2 weeks at the most. And then I can point to the weekly chart, 218.98 by the end of February or sooner. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the 233.07 formation, a 3 to 5 month objective anyway, as we presently watch the market, as we presently analyze this chart. So that covers the upside pretty well. So to re-emphasize or to pre-clarify, if we close above 200.09 today, no good reason to be short Apple over the weekend, no good reason to be short Apple through the rest of December, no good reason to be short Apple through all of Q1. We are then expecting this steeply rising channel top at 207.39 probably by the end of next week and into the 218.98 region by the end of February or sooner, so forth and so on. Now, until then, that's a very sellable area, at least near term. And by that, I mean, into possibly through next week. Holding below the 198.23 July high, a level that we pushed through on Thursday, did not close above, actually allows, I'm going to say by the end of next week, 191.46, a new rising channel bottom. So this kind of covers the day trade to the downside. We do have a bit at 196.16, intraday support. Nothing more than Thursday's low, but it is the low of the high. It has pivot point qualities, and if we break 196.16, 193.96 is likely today, where a daily low could be placed. So this is kind of the day trade. If you're day trading, you're selling 198.23, perhaps buying back at 196.16. You're selling a break below 196.16 and buying it back at 193.96. Or you're selling 198.23 and holding out for 193.96, or vice versa. If we close below 193.96, then on Monday we test 191.46, where we could bottom out through next week and from here rally back to 198.23. This is kind of your 3 to 5 day swing trade, selling 198.23, buying back at 191.46, and vice versa. I'm not crazy about selling 198.23 over the 2 to 3 to 5 week time horizon. In other words, I'm not crazy about selling 198.23 in anticipation of a return back to 183.04. Although that may happen, I would rather assume that on weakness. In other words, if over the next 3 to 5 days we were to close below 191.46, then sure, the low 180s expected, 181.96 to 183.04, then considered a 2 to 3 week target where we could bottom out through January and perhaps even through all of Q1 as we then make our way back to 198.23 and higher in the weeks following a test of the lower 180s. But I don't expect to see 181.96 unless we close below 191.46. 191.46 is a solid level to buy if you're a 3 to 5 day swing trader. And if you're a 2 to 3 to 5 week swing trader, you may consider buying 191.46 in anticipation of a settlement then subsequent to that 3 to 5 days later above the 198.23 level. But for right now, for the day itself, I do want to emphasize that the 200.09 formation will have some bearing If we close today above 198.23 and not above 200.09, we run the risk of the market falling away and Monday morning opening back below 198.23. So in terms of the clarifier of a secondary long-term buy signal above 198.23, that comes with a settlement today above 200.09. Then once again, 207.39, that formation by the end of next week. And over the next couple of months, by the end of February, 218.98. And once again, over the next 3 to 5 months, 233.07. In fact, holding above 183.04, I think 233.07 is in reach over the next 3 to 5 months anyway. We're a full month or so into that, the secondary buy signal above 183.04, but we can have meaningful price acceleration to the upside, especially if we close today above 200.09. Is there anything else that needs to be said? I don't think so. Please click like, share, subscribe. Check out wickedstocks.com. We've got 4 stock picks we put out over the last 2 weeks, all of which are relevant and very tradable. And you can see it all for free. We offer a 5-day free trial up front. I'll be back Sunday afternoon with Monday's Apple Report, and you have a great weekend.